wanted to give you a little bit more tips on manifesting today. The one thing is, some people say, well, how long is it going to take? I've already told the universe that I want it. Well, one thing is, you want to be exact, tell it exactly what you want. If you say that you want to be riding in a Rolls Royce, you may end up riding in a Rolls Royce, but you're driving it for your boss. You want to specify that you want a new Rolls Royce and you want it to be paid off free and clear. Things like that, it really does need to be specific and intentional. So another thing is that you always want to not have that lack attitude. A lot of us grew up with it. I mean, some of us had parents that were from World War II that carried over to us the lack attitude. You're never going to have enough. There's never going to be enough. You always have to kind of scrounge and things like that. So you don't want to have lack attitude. You want to know the universe does have enough for everybody. It's all out there, and that you are entitled to your portion of it. Another thing is, though, that what you want is already out in the universe. So unless it's a puppy, maybe that puppy's not out there yet, but you get what I mean, that the stuff that is going to take to grow that puppy is already there. Okay, I digress. Anyway, just some tips. Now, I do have another story for you. I gave you the story before. This is Rupert, and he is my spirit animal, and he seems to be the only one that's hanging around me today. Anyway, I told you the story about how I lived in Illinois. I manifested the farmhouse, and we had the rescue there. After that, you guys can come too. After that, I decided I needed to move back to Florida, which was my intention all along. I wanted to come back here for the climate and the beaches, things like that. So I started manifesting my move back to Florida and the house I wanted and the career I wanted. I actually set myself up to go to nursing school in Illinois, so I knew that when I moved back to Florida, I would have a job and be able to get a job for, you know, something that there's a big need for. I did that, came back one day. I flew back. It kind of helped that my dad lived here in Florida, so I was flying back to visit him one day, and I had already put in some applications. I had transferred my nursing license to Florida, and then I had put in some applications. While I was at the airport waiting for my flight, I actually got a phone call from a place in Daytona Beach, which was not too far from where I was going to live, and they offered me a job, an interview. So I went out for actually got the job, went out for the interview and actually got the job while I was visiting that weekend before I had moved or anything. I told them I was going to move in a couple months, and they said, fine, you should start whenever you want, which was really cool. I got another story about that later that I'll tell you, but they had a day shift opening for 3 to 11 shift, actually second shift opening. So I'll tell you what happened with that later. But in the meantime, I went ahead and got a realtor to look at some places. I knew I wanted to be in an area near St. Augustine. That's my favorite place. A lot of history in this town. It's near the beaches and everything. Now they're getting stirred up, the peacocks are. So what I did was I had a realtor come and I checked out Flagler Estates. This is a small community. It's actually got 10,000 acres here, which is perfect for me to run, and that was one of the things that, one of my criteria that I wanted was to still be able to run a lot. But it's older people, mobile homes, retirees, people that are from up north that came down, and the housing here is real expensive, so I kind of went for the mobile home community. I had a realtor show me around a bunch of them, and I picked out the one that I liked. I had certain criteria. One of them was it had to be fenced all the way around. I was planning on bringing the horses down with me, so I knew that we would never get around to putting up a fence on, you know, an acre and a half. So it had to be already fenced. Another criteria was that it had a little pond, because I just think that that's the coolest thing to have in the back of your yard and your little farm. Another thing that I needed was to have enough area for the animals, which I said was an acre and a half. And there were some other things, and I can't remember them now. But I just want to tell you, I looked at the place with the realtor, did that, and looked about 4 or 5 places, and then I flew back to Illinois. So about a week or so later, I did hear from the realtor, and she told me, oh, the place that she wanted. Okay, Rupert, my spirit animal. He doesn't want anybody else to come near me. He's also my familiar. She told me that the place I wanted had been sold. She said, are you interested in any of the other places you looked at? I said no. Remember, I manifested something. It was specific, and that was what I wanted. So I said no. She said, well, would you like to look at any more? I said no. I was satisfied. If I couldn't get that place, I didn't want any place. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. When I had looked at the place with her, there was a little sticker on the front window, and it was an 800 number for like financing. And I asked her about that, and she's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I asked her if I should call them. So when I went back, I think I did it all online. I didn't really call anybody. I went online and I filled out a credit application for the house. And when she was talking to me, telling me that this house had already been sold, I was the buyer. I was the one who had gotten the house. So there you go. That was my dream, manifesting it, and I got it. And lined up certain different ways. If you don't follow those signs, then you know you're not really serious about your manifesting. You don't know how it's going to come. You could be having to talk to a certain person, and the universe is going to guide you towards that person. Incidentally, when we did get the house, we went through another realtor. We got it over Skype. I hadn't moved down here yet, even though I had my start date. Thank you. That was the pig. So I don't want to edit anything, but that was the pig. And Rupert doesn't like the pig either. So what I did was we had to go through another realtor, and we incidentally had to end up paying a commission to the first realtor that showed us the houses, which I think wasn't fair, but hey, we got what we wanted. Okay, dreamers, that's about it. Until next time, just remember your tips on manifesting and...
Hey there, girlfriend.
Oh, hi.
What y'all doing? Is this not one of your videos?
Yeah, this is my neighbor, Geraldine. How are you doing today, Geraldine?
Hey, y'all. I'm just doing fine. I seen you out here climbing this tree, and I thought, well, what's that girl up to?
Yeah, I went out on a limb today.
Oh, you went out on a limb.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just telling these nice folks here about manifesting, how you can get stuff that you want.
Manifesting?
Yeah, you,
I'd like to feast on some men right now. Is that like a man of feasting?
Oh, no, it's manifesting is where you ask the universe for something. And you
like Miss Universe?
No. You set an intention for what you want, and you put it in your heart, and you ask the universe will bring it to you and bring you the methods of how to get it.
It's like a make-a-wish? You gotta rub your bosom a little to get the wish?
Okay. It was nice seeing you today, Geraldine, and...
Well, it's always a pleasure to see you, girl. You need to come over sometime. We have a spot of tea.
Great. There's your input from Geraldine, my neighbor, and...
Well, it's been fun talking to everybody, and I hope everybody gets their universal wish. I know what I'm wishing for. Maybe he'd be home when I get there.
All right, guys. See you next time. Bye.